deal in Iran falls apart, Iran shuts the Strait of Hormuz, and J.D. Vance and Donald Trump attack Israel, while also trying to make a deal for peace. All that and more is coming up on this episode of the Dockery Docket. So last week I told you about a peace deal that was taking place between Iran and the United States, and I was going to use this episode to talk about it and talk about how it was going to be the best situation ever. Well, now that episode can be lightly tossed out the window because, well, the peace plan failed once again. And it wasn't the worst deal in the history of the world. Donald Trump got his one goal, which was to stop Iran from making a nuclear weapon. But some people were a little bit freaked out because it said on there that the United States was going to send Iran $30 billion to rebuild their country. However, people read into this wrong because this was the United States and our Middle Eastern allies giving Iran money to enter them back into the fold. This wasn't going to be a pallet full of cash just given to Iran. It was going to be the United States and our allies giving money to Iran to help them if they were willing to remain peaceful and to follow different agreements. If they didn't, then we wouldn't give them any money at all. And according to J.D. Vance and also Donald Trump, no American money was going to Iran at all. We were finally able to sit down with Iran and make a memorandum of understanding, or an MOU for short. And it was very simple. If Iran and the United States of America can follow these 14 points for 60 days, then we can move on to other negotiations. And get this war over with. Now, this deal was just between Iran and the United States of America, with Israel, who was another big player in this war, outside of the picture. We had them sitting on the bench. And after this deal, Benjamin Netanyahu came out and claimed that Israel is not a party to the memorandum, but praised Donald Trump's commitment that any final deal would require removal of enriched materials, dismantling or enrichment infrastructure, limits on missile production, and an end to Iran's support for proxies, talking about Hezbollah and other terrorist organizations. Now, I'm not sure if there was a misunderstanding. I know that there were some people in Israel who definitely disagreed with this memorandum and were definitely talking about it and saying that this was the worst thing that could happen. But maybe Israel thought because they weren't a part of it, then they could go on and do their own thing, as they are in a war right now with Lebanon, trying to stop Hezbollah. And this is where the peace deal absolutely crumbled. Because just a few short days after this agreement was signed, Israel started bombing Lebanon, which was against the first point in the memorandum. And once Iran heard about this, they instantly shut down the Strait of Hormuz and wrote this whole big thing about how the United States and Israel have broken the memorandum, causing a whole bunch of drama and a whole bunch of controversy. But even though they weren't a part of this agreement, I wish that they would just stop bombing for a little bit. We had a good thing going. We were talking to Iran, we were making deals with them, and then all of a sudden, all of this hard work just gets thrown up into the air. And honestly, it's all a big waste of time. All that we needed was for Israel to stop bombing people for 60 days. That's it. Just 60 days to make a final deal, and then they could go back to doing whatever they want. And guess what? Donald Trump is not happy with Israel at all. Which is very strange because I swear I've heard people say that Israel is somehow controlling Donald Trump, and if Donald Trump doesn't do what Israel says, then they're going to release the Epstein files or they're going to kill Donald Trump. And the funny thing is that this whole entire peace deal situation takes that theory and puts it to bed. Because why would Donald Trump negotiate a peace deal with Iran without Israel there when Israel is the one who's actually in control? And how is it that Donald Trump is able to criticize Israel when Israel is actually in control of him, and if he doesn't say what they want, then he's going to get killed? It doesn't make sense. Anyway, here's what Donald Trump had to say about Bibi Netanyahu. As a U.S. official claimed that Trump claimed, "You're effing crazy. You'd be in prison if it weren't for me. I'm saving your behind. Everybody hates you now. Everybody hates Israel because of this." Wow, those are some pretty bold words for the people that are in charge of Donald Trump. A second source claimed that Donald Trump was absolutely ticked off with the state of Israel and at one point yelled at Netanyahu, "What the F are you doing?" Once again, this is a very bold thing to say to people that are controlling you. Behind closed doors, Donald Trump is very aggressive with Israel. He's like a parent trying to correct their child. But in front of everyone else, he is a little bit calmer. Take a look at this.
We know Israel, because no other president was willing to do what I did. You have faster. It just goes on forever. And when that happens, it throws a negative light on the big deal, and that's the deal with Iran. So when you ask me about Bibi, an unbelievable relationship. But Israel would have been blown up a long time ago had I not gotten involved.
This is 100% true. The United States is Israel's really only ally. And I don't think that they have a right to criticize the United States for trying to make peace. It seems to me and a lot of others that Israel wants to continue this war for some reason. And Donald Trump and JD Vance are the ones that are trying to get it done. They're trying to make a deal so then we can get the heck out of this war and have peace in the Middle East. Donald Trump has appointed JD Vance to actually be the one who tries to create this peace deal between Iran and the United States. And even JD Vance got mad at Israel, as there's a certain member of the cabinet in Israel that was attacking the United States, and here's what he had to say about that.
It's all the Axios report, that Netanyahu is fuming. That's not reflective of the conversations that I've had with him, but maybe he's saying something to somebody else that he's not saying to me. What I will say, and this does bother me, is that you've seen people within Bibi's cabinet who have come out and attacked the deal, and in some ways very personally attacked the President of the United States. And I guess my message to them would be twofold. Number one, Donald J. Trump is the only head of state in the entire world who is sympathetic to the nation of Israel at this moment in time. And he happens to be the head of state of the world's superpower. If I was in the cabinet of the Israeli government, I might not be attacking the only powerful ally that I have anywhere left in the entire world.
And now this put a lot of people into an absolute panic because, oh my goodness, JD Vance is attacking Israel. Now this put a lot of people into a panic because right now we are dealing with two separate parties in the Republican Party. We have neocons like Lindsey Graham, Ben Shapiro, and Mark Levin, who if they had it their way, they would carpet bomb all of Iran and we would take it over and take all their oil. They would want to have a war there until we finally kick the leaders of Iran out and create a better country. Then we have people in what I like to call the woke right. These are people like Tucker Carlson, Dave Smith, and Nick Fuentes. They want this war to be stopped right away, no matter what, but they have a very big flaw. They blame everything, literally everything, on the Jews or Israel. They think that Donald Trump is controlled by Israel, which is absolutely silly and something that I debunked in this episode. And maybe I'll have to write an episode about the woke right, especially after what Tucker Carlson said recently, and what all these other crazy wackadoos are saying. Anyway, both of these groups are terrible. They're both despicable. And I wish that there was some sort of middle ground. A middle ground that says, okay, we don't like this war, we want this war to end, but also I'm not going to blame Israel or the Jews for everything. We criticize Israel if they do something wrong, but we don't go into anti-Semitic bullcrap. Does that make sense? Like, there is a way to be neutral and still want the war to end and say, hey, Israel has a right to defend itself and to be a free nation. But if they are doing bad things, then we can criticize them just like Donald Trump and JD Vance are doing right now. As after JD Vance attacked Israel, a lot of people are claiming that JD Vance is now a part of the woke right. And it's funny because they think this just because JD Vance attacked Israel when Donald Trump also criticized Israel as well. He basically said the same thing that JD Vance is saying. Both JD Vance and Donald Trump are on the same page when it comes to Israel. But I don't think that either of these men are on the woke right. Both of these men want this war to end as quickly as possible through peaceful negotiations. So JD Vance is in Switzerland and he's talking to the leaders of Pakistan and Qatar and Iran, trying to make a peace deal after the whole Israel incident happened. But when the Strait of Hormuz got closed, Donald Trump got angry and went to Truth Social. And he wrote that the delegates from Iran better get a deal done and open up the strait, or the negotiators won't have a country to go home to. Basically meaning that if they don't get a deal done, then Donald Trump is going to bomb them. Now, this probably frustrated JD Vance because maybe he was close to a deal. Maybe he was close to finally getting Iran to come back when all of a sudden Donald Trump threatened to destroy Iran. All of this caused a bunch of drama as Iran threatened to walk out of the meeting and to leave right away. However, the walkout was kind of a stunt as the Iranian negotiators actually stayed and talked to JD Vance throughout the night. According to JD Vance, we laid a very good foundation for a successful final deal. He continued by saying, the final deal is a house. We set the foundation, we haven't built the house, but we laid a successful foundation to get to a good place for the American people. Now, this is a good start. We just have to hope that the drama can finally calm down, we can stop the bombs, and we can stop this war in its tracks. And with that, I just want to thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Dockery Docket. And until next time, like my mom always says, be good, be kind, be loving, goodbye.